All right, y'all ready? We're gonna get started. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late, but we'll still get the stuff out there. Joshua, brother Joshua, we're about to get started. Huh? All right, so y'all ready? So we're gonna get the second half, and I kind of, when you're working with people, they start to rub off on you. So I got how I used to do. I just freestyle. I go to the website and show it up. But I've been working with this brother long enough. I said, you know what? I got to get me some slides. So these are my sources: U.S. codes and statutes, Yale Law School, United States Constitution, Black Laws Dictionary, third edition. We might go into that. We might not. Cornell Law School, and IRS website. All of the stuff I talk about mainly comes from these sources, the stuff they write. So you can't run around. Akeem said this. No, it's not what Akeem said. It's what they say. Okay? Just remember that when y'all quote me, Akeem showed me that they said it. Okay? All right? A lot of people, do y'all notice that a lot of people that teach, they'll be talking and tell you what something is, but never show you where they got it from? Right? So, and a lot of that stuff happened now. Let's talk about this. A little side note. George Floyd, right? White cop killed him, supposedly. But y'all know the autopsy results came out, right? The real one. He wasn't killed by strangulation. No. He did no asphyxiation. He had enough fentanyl in it to kill his whole room. So what you saw was a man just leaning on a man who was, I'm not saying that the cop didn't do something wrong, because he did do some stuff wrong, but that's not what killed him. Because there's a lawsuit out there now that case came up, and they showed the official autopsy results. See, but your perception came from what? The media painted this picture that 9 minutes, this is what happened. And they said not, wasn't it? It was 9 minutes, right? Yeah, 9 minutes and like 40 something seconds. Right. Isn't it a coincidence they use the number 9? When everything you do is in 9, your socials are 9 digits, EINs are 9 digits. It takes 9 months for a woman to have a baby, or, if she's healthy and it goes to its term. So everything is a theater to get you to see things a certain way, to keep you walking down that path, just like they do with cattle when they walking them off to slaughter. They go through a narrow path, and they lure them with food all the way. That's exactly what's happening to us. That's how they are presenting information. How do they start you off with the information? They did a study of children to see what makes some children geniuses and some not. And they found something surprising. They said between the age 0 and 6, almost over 90% of children exhibited genius behavior. All of the children they studied. Then they went back and studied them after they dealt with the whole school system, and they were down to 20% after doing public education. Y'all think that's by coincidence? The educational system is a perfect working machine. It's just not good for you, but it's good for the system. And that's what it was. They had a meeting about this. They wanted to figure out, how can we get a generation of people to be dumb and work for us forever and make their kids do it? They had a meeting. They went to the Horace Mann, who was the father of public education, went to Prussia, which we call Germany now, and tried to figure out how did Hitler get these young people to go through do all of these things. It's through indoctrination and propaganda. All of these new age or new, I don't even want to know if they're new or how, whatever you want to call it. Everybody want to identify as something other than what they was born to be. Um, how did they do that? It was in the educational system. They were teaching this stuff to the kids through the material, and you didn't even know they were teaching your kids that. Because we too busy working, because that's what we're being responsible adults and not paying attention to what our kids were getting in these schools. Now it's so far gone, it's no turning back. You see? But we're going to talk about an identity that you need to have in order to protect your assets, in order to protect yourself from the mechanism they have in place to trap you into being a slave. The movie The Matrix is a biography of everybody's life in here. Okay, that's real. Exactly. Remember when he got Neo and he said one of the first things he said, Neo, are you a slave? And one of the first things he talked about is IRS paying taxes. Isn't that the bane of our existence? Man, taxes. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Taxes are not a bad thing if you know how to handle them. You see? So those are the sources. We're gonna go to those sources and look them up and talk about what I'm gonna talk about here. Okay, this is the discharge seminar. People ask, can you discharge student loans? Somebody answer that. Can you? Yes. Can you discharge mortgages? Can you discharge credit cards? And here's the next is the steps. You already answered all of that. I'm trying to be a little fancy. That's as good as it get right there. There ain't no more little ain't no more of that. So let's look at discharge. Now that is so small, I know I can't even read it. So I'm gonna have to how am I gonna read that and keep it up on the screen? Huh? Okay. Somebody come up here and read it. Oh, you were absent. Man, Warren, you better keep him. You better keep him. I'm sitting up here. I got the book right here. How am I gonna read this and it's sitting right here? Oh. Huh? I can't see with them glasses on. Those are only for distance. So I can see if y'all can sleeping on me or not. So we're gonna look up the word discharge. Huh?
That looks finer than my Bible.
Discharge. When we read this, y'all gonna see something very interesting about this.
What's the name of that book?
Oh, this is the Black's Law Dictionary, third edition. Somebody help me find discharge. Somebody who's sharp. I'm gonna use one of these young eyes right here. When you get it, let me know. Discharge. This is Black's Law Dictionary law of definition of discharge. I can read that from here. Huh? Page, oh yeah, 584. Genius again. I'm sitting here looking for the page number sitting on the screen. 584. I'm in the game. I'm there. I'm just. Yeah, you got it. All right. You don't have to read all that. Start right there.
Okay.
Nice and loud. Hey, come on up here and talk. You do a YouTube channel. He got a YouTube channel. Y'all should follow him. She got a YouTube channel. Y'all should follow her too. Huh? Read it nice and loud. Here. So you can speak in this mic. Yeah.
There is a distinction between a debt discharged and a debt paid. When discharged, the debt still exists through divested of its character as a legal obligation during the operation of a discharge. Something of the original vitality of the debt continues to exist, which may be transferred even though the transferee takes it subject to its dis- disability incident.
Stop right there. Stop.
Discharge.
Hold your place. So what did this say about discharge? Discharge, even though the debt is discharged, the debt still exists, right? Isn't that kind of what happens when people are discharging? They still try to get for that money, right?
Yeah, because tax haven't been paid
E-
on.
Well, everything's a tax, but you on the right road, you close. So what it's saying is the debt still exists in some way, so it can be transferred, sold, whatever, right? But keep going.
The fact, oh, the mic.
Oh, sorry.
The fact that it carries something which may be consideration for the new promise to pay as to make an otherwise worthless promise is a legal obligation, which the subject of transfer by assignment. Stanek v. White, 72.
You don't have to read those.
Okay.
Those are just
All right.
cases. Keep going.
Discharge by operation of law is where the discharge takes place, whether it was intended by the parties or not. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor or executor, the
Executor.
executor.
Read that again, because I want to
Okay.
hear that with some emphasis. Read it again.
Okay. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor, his executor, if the debt is discharged by operation of law, because the executor cannot have an action against himself.
Wow. Right. Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna read it again. Cause I have to read it again so it can get in my brain, and then I can talk about it. But thank you. Good. All right. It says discharge by operation of law is where the discharge takes place, whether it was intended by the parties or not. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor his executor, the debt is discharged by operation of law because the executor cannot have an action against himself. Without me having to explain that, I'm going to explain it. Can somebody figure out what it just said? Go ahead.
You talking about the all caps and the proper.
Okay, what is the all cap name? What place does it hold?
It's the debtor.
Absolutely, right? So if you take and appoint that debtor, the executor, what happens? The debt goes away because it can't discharge against itself. That's exactly what that just said. Go ahead. Throw it to the back. In layman term is they're new, so y'all still kind of catching up. A lot of people already know what I'm talking about, so I gotta kind of. Can you explain a little bit? Can you do it?
The creditor and the debtor.
Yeah.
So in that situation, and it's almost like look at it like from an estate if someone passes away, right? So if the debtor appoints the creditor as the executor, which is you, right? Then you can't do what?
Can't be held liable.
And the
Right.
debt goes away.
Right.
Because the one in the same.
Right. Well, it's not one and the same. It's the position you holding, right? The all caps is always a debtor. Why? Where did it come from?
It was a creation.
It was a creation from the United States. They created that to be a debtor. That's all it can ever be, is a debtor. But you, the living person, is what? You don't have any debt when you come into this world, right? So you and that entity can't do anything without you. But see how they got you is give us your socials so we can put this on a W-4 form or a W-2 form. Give us your socials so you can get these lights on, so you can buy this car. They okay, here. They're putting you in a position where you are administering the estate, but you're not in the right position. Guess which position you're in? trustee position. Trustees in a lot of cases when you're dealing with the government, trustee is the worst position to be in because it's actually the owner, right? If I have a trust, like he said, irrevocable trust, right? We got a trust, and I give it up to him. He's the trustee. In that trust, he gets to buy property. He can either put it in his name or in the trust name, but he's the one responsible that they're going to come and look for. Hey, what's going on here? Did you pay the taxes on the trust? Did you do the administration? And then they have laws for trustees if they don't do the right thing.
That's right. You go straight to jail.
See, but when you create your trust, you ain't gonna have that problem. But when you executing their trust, the one they created, which is the straw man, you're gonna have that problem because their trust indenture has rules. What is the trust indenture for the straw man? What trust indenture? Where's that trust expressed for the straw man name? It's expressed in several ways. Yes, it's expressed everywhere. It's expressed in the penal code, the criminal code, and the IRS code. What is the first thing you get arrested they're looking for? Let me get your name, social security number. Right. They have an expression of how you're going to get treated. Who here got a court case right now that they can show me, that they can pull up? Just show me the caption. Just look at the caption. Show me. I want you to notice something about the captions. The caption is state versus you. That's the caption. That's what that means. He's pulling it up. While he's doing that, it's written in a certain way. It's written to show you what estate is going against each other. Let's see. I ain't gonna pass this around, brother. See how here they have it up and lower, but let's see the documents. Can you see the documents?
You talking about
Like where I could actually see the filings.
A lot of them closed. Right here.
Still,
Oh no,
you need the actual filings, like the paperwork they put in the case. Don't worry about it. They get the point. Whenever you look at a court case, it's always, let's just say the state is going after you for something. It'll say the state of such and such against you, but your name is always in all caps. So that means that's not you they're going after the estate. But you walk in there thinking that's you because the letters look the same as your name. But you're not paying attention to how it's styled. Styling is important to anything you do because you're thinking, oh, this is me, and and the court know you don't know this, and they let you roll right in there and take that position, and then having you paying into the estate on behalf of for whatever they're saying you want. That's for traffic tickets, all of that stuff. All right, let's go. Let me see. See it? Yeah, see how it's all in all caps? See, but down there they got you up and low. The child, see it? See how they switched it up? Yeah. So you don't know the difference.
Remember, I sent you that letter? How they
Yeah.
sent me, and they sent me two?
Yeah. They sent him 2 letters. One was all caps, and then when they actually was talking to him, they put it in up and lower. You see? That's how those are the games they're playing. That's why I told y'all about to go down a rabbit hole. Y'all ready for this rabbit hole? All right, just slide seem off. Let me see. I was just charged. Okay.
I think you went first.
Think
You went backwards first.
yeah, no, that next slide, I didn't know that was next. Then okay. In order to discharge, here's some requirements. These are the Church of Infinite Abundance requirements. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. I set it up this way for protection because I know what the Constitution says about religion. Your rights are unalienable rights when it comes to your religious faith. They can't question you, can't do nothing. Only time your religion gets questioned is when you fill out a what? When you set your church up as a what? A 501c3. Now it's no longer a church. It's no longer a temple. It's no longer a mosque. It's now considered by IRS definition a religious organization that has to answer them and file all of these reports and all that craziness. So scripture says, 1 Corinthians 7:21-24, were you a slave when you clean that up? That thing ain't ring all day until I start talking, huh? When were you a slave when you were called? Don't let it trouble you, although if you can gain your freedom, do so. That's what we're talking about right now. For the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. So how was we born into slavery? See, the movies got you thinking slavery is picking cotton, getting whipped by some trustee, you in chains. The movies, that's what they have you thinking real slavery is. But do y'all know that type of slavery was a very short period of time compared to how long man been on earth? Slavery has always been this. When you had to leave your home and go work for someone else. That was slave. That was considered being a slave. Y'all been reading the Bible in your life that showed you that. The Israelites was able to go home to their house and do all it because they was complaining at Moses about, why are you messing with us, man? We was doing good. They loved us. They took care of us. They fed us. So they didn't feel like slaves. Why? Because they kept their culture. They was able to go home. They wasn't living in dilapidated conditions. How you know they wasn't living in dilapidated conditions? What happened when they left Egypt and they couldn't wait on Moses? What did they do? What did they build? They built a golden calf. So you talking about the broke slaves came out of Egypt and they built this calf together? That these were poor folks we talking about? No. They just like what we got here. You got some people living in the hood, some people living in middle class neighborhoods, some people living in upscale, and then some living in super upscale. It's the same situation, just different time. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, and some of y'all might not like it, but it's a hard truth. When you have to get up and go to somebody's job and clock in, clock out, that's your master. You okay? If anybody who has disagreed with me, can you tell them what time you going on a break? Nope. Can you tell them when you got to get permission on? Hey, I need these days off, boss. Can I have it? Anybody else got these days? Huh? Right? And we live like that's normal, like it's regular, like that's okay. God didn't say that in Genesis. He said, "Have dominion over all things." How do you have dominion over all things? And you got to ask a man when you could take your family on vacation. When you got to ask a man to pay you more money to buy a nicer house for your family. Ask this same guy so I could buy better groceries. Salaries ain't going up, but the groceries is high as hell. I spent $150 and I got a handful of stuff. Like what? I need to go and start tilling some land because this is crazy. And they charging you all that money to poison you. That's crazy. That's the worst part about it. It ain't even good food you buying. Right? So for the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. Similarly, the one who was free when called is Christ's slave. You were bought at a price. Do not become slaves of human beings. The scripture told y'all that. Look, it said it right there. Don't be nobody's slave. Brothers and sisters, each person that's responsible to God should remain in a situation that they were in when God called them. What situation was you in when you was called? When you was born, let's put it like that. You was free. You didn't have any idea what debt was, that you have to grow up and want to be a fireman, policeman, and all that craziness that they get you put in your head. You just wanted to be free. It was the adults who came in and said, this is what it is to be responsible. This is the yeah, you gotta go get this education and get a good job so you can collect your 401k. Y'all know that's a scam, the 401k, right? Because they done spent all that money. Why you think they having all these fires? They want you to look at Israel and what's going on. They trying to figure out because a lot of people are retiring, and they're gonna want that money. That means there's gonna be a huge run on the bank at one point. So what they do? Create a pandemic, get everybody to take them shots. And we got to mitigate our losses.
You can't control the money in your 401k.
No.
Only thing you can do is take from it, which they'll take from you if you take from it. If you ever try to go into your 401k, like let's say buy Bitcoin, they're gonna tell you can't do it. They're gonna say you need a private account.
Because it ain't your money.
Exactly.
Once you give it to them, it's theirs.
You need a private account in order to move this money from your 401k to Bitcoin. And you think it's all your money, and you can't control it once it's in your 401k.
Then if you take it out early, they're gonna penalize it. They did a study of the 401k system, and they looked at the gains and the losses over the years. They said over a lifetime of the gains and losses, you pretty much get in what you put in it back. It's really no real gains because the market shrinks, it expands, and over that time, it's pretty much giving you maybe a little bit extra. So what it's saying is, don't put all your money in 401k. You need to diversify that money, put it in different places. Because if we have an economy collapse, that's one of the biggest things that's gone. You ain't okay. I had this money, but then the fraud that goes along with 401ks, because it's up to the manage. They give that money over to a management company to manage the funds, and if they pick the wrong scheme, you stuck. Yeah, always conduct. So we talk about status and correcting status and how you should look. Don't One thing you want to correct status is who you working for. That's why I showed that last stage slide. Who do you work for? You work for man or you work for God? You was put here to work for God. Some of y'all think y'all don't have, or y'all might think that working for God is being part of a church or being in someone else's church, but everyone in here is their own church. Everyone in here got their own mission that they need to share with the world. I don't care what you've been through, but that thing you've been through is what can help somebody else. All right. So if you had a hard life, that hard life is supposed to teach someone else. It ain't for you. You went through it, someone else can learn from it. What did Christ do? He went through the hardest thing that a man could go through. Help people, and then get persecuted for it. And then got put to death for it. Right? How many people can do that? Shoot, somebody look at us wrong, we ready to flip, right? Now, this man healed people, and the same people he healed was the same people that asked to put him to death. Let's not get it twisted. The same people that he fed and helped is the same people that went up against him. And they even asked for a thief over him. Someone who was already up there before, who was already convicted before he got there. And he did nothing but try to help. So,
That's really true right there.
huh?
What's on the board? Conduct your business according to your religious beliefs.
Yes. But groups of people are already doing it. You see it every day when you watch movies and stuff like that. The Jewish community own most of your media companies, just about all of it, right? But you never hear them talk about paying taxes or any other problems. How many? You don't hear too many of them going through these divorces or anything like that.
You barely see them in court.
Right, because they have their own courts. They do everything according to their religion, and that's why they one of the most successful communities out there. Don't hate them, learn from them.
Can I give a testimony, Akeem?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was because I've been listening. I've been dealing with Akeem for a long time since he was with Joan and all that. So I've been with Akeem for like 4 or 5 years. So I've been doing correcting status and all that other stuff, right? So I didn't understand some things. So I didn't have my car registered, right? And I didn't have the license plate on. So I was driving through town and they pulled me over. I don't have a driver's license and none of that stuff. I just got a passport card, right? So they pulled me over. To make a long story short, they ended up towing the car, right? But the guy asked me, he said, "Where you work?" I said, "Well, I'm a missionary." I said, "I work for God." Right? No license, no registration. They took the car, and I ended up having to get the car back the next day, right? But anybody knows if you have no license, no registration, you going to jail. Then not only did they not lock me up, they took me home. Once I told them, this is God's honest truth. Once I told them I work for God, he said, "Who's your boss?" I said, "God's my boss." He said, "You just said you work in the deli because I own the store." I said, "Yeah, the deli needs help. I'm a missionary. I help." He took me home 2 blocks from my house. He didn't take me directly to my house. And I was 10 miles from my house, 3 o'clock in the morning. They took my car. They took my car. Then he put me, he said, "Well, you could take an Uber or something." I said, "No, I'm not taking no Uber. I got no money. You left me out here." He said, "I'll bring you home right now." He brought me home.
See?
That's a fact.
So I'm glad he mentioned that because I was talking and I wanted to remind myself to talk about it, but he reminded me. When Al gave y'all the definition of person, they gave every entity in the under the book except for one entity: church, temple, synagogue, and mosque. That's not a person in the eyes of the law. They can't define that because that's above their pay grade. That's above them. So they can't define and say this person is bound by these rules. So when I tell y'all to set these things up, I'm taking you outside of their jurisdiction, which is there's only way you can get in their jurisdiction is it with your church is if you fill out that 501c3. That's how they had to bring the religious organizations. They were losing, they weren't getting billions of dollars a year. It's like all these churches getting all this money. How do we get this money? So said we'll get them. We won't get them now. We'll get them later. But tell them we want to get them recognized as tax exempt. They get on this little list, and people can see this. And this is what I started. That's why I started off the way I started with the George Floyd. How you see things, how they want you to see things, is not the truth. See, everybody in their mind says, "I need a 501c3 to be tax exempt." That's the thinking. Not churches. They don't need it. And I'm gonna read later and show you that it says specifically they don't need it. It's not necessary. But some do it so they can be recognized. But most doing it to be recognized, thinking that they have to do that. A lot of the stuff y'all doing right now, y'all don't have to do. You have a job?
Nope. I quit my job.
You quit? Give her a hand. Huh? Huh?
All because of what you said, I was just going to work feeling like a slave. And then to get my check ain't even over $500.
Oh, yeah. You can make $500 just using, you can make more than that with your imagination. Really, it's so many ways to make money. Is it if you're not making money outside of a job, you're wasting your God-given talents. Everybody got a talent that they can capitalize on and make lots of money at it.
when you asked me what you asked me. Remember what I told you?
Huh?
When you came right here, you asked me earlier, and my response to you, you asked me, what was I hoping to get off the sleds today?
Mhm.
And what was my response?
I can't remember. Remember. You see, what kills a lot of people's aspirations is once they fall off the horse, they get off the rail, they get sidetracked, they don't start over. They don't pick up where they left off. What they do is, this is the thing that people do. They go find some other thing that they want to do and try to start over with that. Or start with that, not start over, start something new. I see it all the time. I see people, hey, I got this business, I'm doing this and it. And then they reach a point where it's not working, or it seems like it's not working. But, you know, I always tell you, it's always working. Even in the time where it looks like it's not working, it's working. What it's showing you is maybe you need to just reevaluate how you're doing stuff. And then they quit and they go to something new. And then they get to a point with that and and then they move on to something else. Know what habit they're developing? Giving up and starting new processes. Because they figure, oh, maybe that was a bad idea. Let me go over here. Maybe this is a bad idea. Let me go over here. I've had that happen, people I work with. Right before they reach that point, that threshold of a new level, they give up. Peace, everybody. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in on this Tuesday, January the 2nd, the second day of the new 2024 year. It's here. 2 days in already. Pretty much. So I've been preparing you guys since the last couple of months for this time. Time to reignite or ignite your progress. I was listening to the seminar we did. That was in Atlanta, actually. Yes, that was the Atlanta seminar. And I was like enjoying it. It's always good to sit down and watch or hear yourself teach, because you can see where you need some improvement. I like to listen to myself, and that was the first time I've actually listened to that. I found it and I played it, and I was enjoying it. I was like, man, okay, go ahead. Let me, because see, when I'm teaching, I don't remember everything I say because I'm coming from a place from the spirit. So it's like God is speaking through me at the time. So I'm issuing out. Excuse me, I got a little head cold going on. So I'm just giving the information, but to hear what's being said, I'm like, wow, okay, good. That was good, but I could do this next time. But I was enjoying it. I almost let it play all the way through. But that's all day seminar. So that's like 4 or 5 hours of teachings. And y'all got to see what actually happens at the seminar. And some people was on here, Road Warrior, he heard himself reading that scripture. Or was it the scripture? Something I had him read. Yeah, it was a scripture, something. No, I had him reading the discharge from Black's Law Dictionary, the 3rd edition. So, excuse me. I don't mean to blow my nose or rub in the camera, but I was almost not going to do a show because I was just sneezing and all that. But I burned some peppermint, boiled some peppermint water, inhaled that, and then I got some menthol right here, burning it on my charcoal to kind of help everything. So, you know, those of you who don't know, we here have a somewhat of a crisis going on here Beth is in the hospital. We had a little health scare going on. She's doing a lot better. She's doing good. So I just putting that out there. I won't go into all of the details because I don't have her permission to tell her business like that. I don't want to commit any HIPAA violations. So but to all of you guys who know, thanks for the well wishes and the prayers. But like when you have somebody in the hospital, it's a constant every day. Okay, it's a disruption in your normal schedule. So you gotta fit that in. But we handling it well. We have some good neighbors who's helping out. But anyway. Yeah, that seminar was good. Like somebody said they gotta get to a seminar. Let me see. Let me put that up on the screen. I gotta get. Oh, that's DJ. Yeah, okay, yeah. He said when I'm gonna get to Maryland. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there, brother. Man, you need to leave Maryland and explore the planet. I know you got a passport, but anyway, I'm gonna get to Maryland. I was actually planning. I was supposed to go to Miami this month, but that got disrupted. Can't do that. I got to stay close to home. And that's indefinite. I don't know how long this is going to last. So, but, things happen. They're there to teach us stuff and to look at things a little more closely. So, of course, they ask you, do you have all this paperwork prepared? Yeah, we have our stuff prepared. We have our trust. But then I saw some things that we need to tighten up on. But anyway, it's 2024. I know you guys are. Hang on one second. Let me do something. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. Let me clear something up here. All right, I'm back. I kind of blew my nose on the camera. I was just trying to clean out, get all this out. But anyway, it's 2024. It's time to get on your game. You don't have time for TV. You don't have time for entertainment. And I was listening to something today, and it was Myron Golden. He was saying, if you're broke, you don't have time to watch a game or watch TV. And he actually said it's crazy that you're sitting there watching these people who make millions of dollars and you're sitting there broke. You're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing your family a disservice when you're taking the time out for these entertaining things and you're in a broke poverty situation. And he was like, it's crazy. And you call it these people, this is my team. No, that's not your team. You're not making any money off of that. You're not sharing any of that revenue. I know I'm touching some nerves because somebody out there is spending more time on entertainment than they are on their purpose, on the things they claim they want all of this success, but they won't give up the vices. They won't give up the entertainment. Those entertainment, let me tell y'all something. Television, movies, a lot of these things that they give us for entertainment, games, they make that for the broke people. Because the rich people are not sitting down watching this stuff. I can tell you for sure they don't.
You know how many box seats I was given as a gift from people who owned these box seats, and they weren't even at the game. They never barely even went to these games to watch them. They would give them to their employees. They would give it to their clients that they're trying to woo into being a client. But for the most part, they're not going. When I worked at the World Trade Center, I got, hey, Akeem, you want to go to the game tonight? I got box seats. I was like, yeah. Oh, the music's I'm sorry. Let me turn that down. Sorry. God, it was loud. I know it was loud. My bad. They got box seats that they're not using. They use them as a marketing tool. That's what they buy. You know, the big companies buy those seats out to give them to people as prizes or to potential customers. You go to the average person who's got bank, and you talk to them about, oh, you see the game? Like, oh, no, I didn't see it. They heard about it. Because they're too busy working on their business. I was listening to a broadcast, and the guy was saying, you got a factory. You got a guy who works on the line. They said that guy watches average of 30 hours of TV a week. The guy that's over him, like the foreman, he averages about 20 hours a week. The guy that's the foreman's boss averages about 10 to 15 hours a week of TV. And the guy over him, you see where I'm going? The higher up the people were in this company, the less TV they watched. Why? Because, and they, of course, as the higher up you get, the more money you're making, right? So, what that says, those who invest more time in entertainment than they do in working and studying and learning things make less money. Because their main investment of time is in entertainment. And entertainment doesn't give you any money back. There's no money back there. Entertainment extracts money. If you go to a game, it's going to cost you. And plus, you buy all of the junk that they sell, that's going to cost you. You go to the movies, same thing. I'm not saying not to do these things. What I'm saying is, there's people out here that religiously, I got every new movie come out, they got to go and see it. Boom, I got to go to this movie. And these people that's doing that I know personally claim they want a business and they're in a bad situation with their money. They're living in desperation. You know, they're living in desperation to keep their head above water. But they have time to go spend hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whenever that movie come out. Instead of saying, wait a minute, let me sacrifice this time of entertaining myself and go work on my business. And I'll have conversations, period, like, hey, how's the business going? Yeah, you know, it's going okay, but, you know, the reason why it's not doing as well is because I'm not spending as much time. At least they admit it. I'm not spending as much time as I should. But then in the next breath, yeah, did you see that movie? See? A tree is judged by the fruit it bears, period. The results you're getting in your life is indicative of the type of tree you're growing in your mind. Let me say it again. The results you're getting in your life, in our life, my life, shows you the tree that you're growing. That's the truth. If you're not getting any fruit, that means that tree is not is what you call infertile. It's a bad tree. Okay? So think about it. It's January the 2nd. Before you know it, it'll be December the 2nd, 2024. And I'm hoping that you're not sitting here from January 2nd to December 2nd, 24, still talking about I need to get started. I hope not. I hope you're not doing that. I hope that we don't have to do that. Progress. Whatever it is you're trying to do, just go ahead and start it. Even if you really don't know what you're doing, start it. Do something. You will eventually know what you're doing. You will eventually figure it out. Just go with the idea. Push forward. Get it started. Don't worry about fancy equipment. Whatever it is, don't worry about being all fancy and doing all the bells and whistles, the frills and the thrills. Those people that you see doing certain things and they look like they got all the frills and the thrills, that I can guarantee you if you go to them, it didn't start that way. And the ones that can start that way, a lot of them already have a lot of money. So they can go ahead and invest in all of that stuff right off the rip. But most of us don't. Most people are not in that position to do that. Like even the people that do have a lot of money to just start off all fancy, there was a point where those people usually have another business that they have got to a multi-million-dollar level, and then, hey, I'm gonna go do this now, and they invest the money. They didn't, somewhere along the line, they didn't start off like that. Amazon started in the garage. Apple started in the garage. Right. And it was a while with Apple, just a little summary of it, that story, where he was challenged, where they wanted him to build those Macs like they do PCs, where you can, like a PC, anybody can build one because you can go buy the parts, get the operating system, put it together. You can't do that with Apple. And people say, no, you're not going to be able to compete with the market, with the PC market, the IBM compatible computers. You're not going to be able to compete if you don't allow the end user to build his own. We said, no. I'm not going to do that. Any old body is not going to be able to build this in their kitchen, in their garage. They're going to have to get it originally from us, period. And right now, Apple, I would say, is a premium. I would say Apple is the luxury brand of the computer world. I wouldn't even put them on the category of Mercedes, Benz, and I would put them higher, like the the Bugatti level. If because Apple is a premium brand. See, a PC, you can buy an expensive PC, but the value will go drastically down after about 6 months to a year. But when you hear Apple, iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, MacBooks, MacBook Pros, the iMac, and soon they got this these goggles they're coming out with, where you can see your PC, and that's going to be like $3,500, and people are going to buy it. Because Apple branded itself in such a way is you expect to pay that much. But did that come easy? No. That came with slow, methodical, pushing the ideal and not giving up on it. Because at the time when Apple was at that crossroad or failing and becoming a premium brand, PCs were very popular. It was the easiest thing to get, and that's what people wanted. People who bought Apple was like what Bitcoin was when it first came out. People who was really fanatics about cryptocurrency, and they was like, get it, and they got it at a very low price. I remember someone was trying to get me to buy it when it was around $30, and I let someone who I respected talk me out of it. That's why you gotta be careful who you listen to. And that wasn't that long ago. We're talking 2015. That's not that long ago. And if I had bought some, I had people who wanted to pay me in Bitcoin. And I was like, and I scoffed at it at the time. But there was people who had real faith in it. Like, it's going to be something. They believed, and they held out, and then it just broke loose. And then more people got on. Apple was like that, where people who wanted an Apple computer was really into the engineering, the technology, like the seriousness of it. Not just getting the PC to do whatever. These people were serious. Computer enthusiasts. Those are the people who bought Apple. And then now it's a household name. I remember when I was in high school, we had Apple IIe's. It was the keyboard was about this big, that thick, and that big. And I had these. That was the time I was hacking software, and we had the little floppy disk, and I would take the games, put them on the floppy disk, and then put them on everybody load them. But that's when you could load them on everybody's computer, and you could take the disk out and play them. Everybody had the same game. In our computer class, when I used to go to high school called Chelsea Vocational in right there by Chinatown. So that's the same thing with what you're trying to do. You're trying to build a premium brand, a premium business where people are coming to you, even though there may be other people that do stuff similar to what you do, but they don't do it quite like you. But you have to be true to your cause by pushing forward. But if Apple, if Steve Jobs had when they created that first Apple, and then he got all of the resistance, he put that out there. At that time, PCs were the thing. They seemed to be better. But he still put his product out there. And he continued to do it, even though with all the oppositions, even though the hard times were, even though when it looked like it was going to fail. And when the iPhone came out, that very first iPhone came out, when he was shopping around for the parts, I want to be able to touch screen. I want to do this, and the screen had to be fingerprint resistance and all of these things. Now think about the iPhone. This is a perfect example of why I say you need to just put your stuff out there. That first iPhone, technology-wise, it was a great phone. But service-wise, it was a horrible phone. It had bad service. I think AT&T was the one who brought out the first iPhone. You can barely make calls with it. But if he had let that hiccup where the reputation of the phone calls stop him, he would have never put the iPhone out there. Because they were courting Verizon Wireless, which was at that time one of the largest wireless carrier in the country, with better network than AT&T. Right? But Verizon Wireless had a vision, and it didn't match up with what Steve Jobs wanted. Steve Jobs, what he wanted was there was certain technologies that Verizon wanted them to change, and Steve was like, "No, I'm not changing that. You got to get on my program. Not doing that." So that's why Verizon didn't pick them up. AT&T did it. Even though their coverage was shoddy at the time. Now, that's the point I'm trying to make. Sometimes when a product hits the market, it's not going to meet all of the standards of what you need to get it, to that premium brand. But it meets just enough needs to be a rival or competitor. Like, what was the needs that first iPhone did something no other phone did? It had the touch screen, and you could put your, because what do you had? Those iPods? Remember, it was just the iPods, right? Now you had an iPhone with the iPod built in it, so you can make phone calls and listen to your music, plus whatever icons that they have. I'm a little fuzzy on the first iPhone because I didn't buy it at that time because I have Verizon Wireless and they weren't carrying that phone. But I know people who was waiting. I can't wait till the iPhone came out. And we could make calls and they got it. We could barely talk on the phone because the coverage was terrible. But I remember the Boondocks even made an episode about it. And the guy said, no, iPhone will do this and this and that. And then the other character said, well, can that thing make a phone call? They were just, making jokes about it in the Boondocks episode. But think about if they had let just that phone coverage stop them from launching that. Think about that. They didn't let the phone coverage stop them. They didn't let them stop them. And now iPhones has forced people who were serious diehard Android users to get it because of the convenience of it all. I was a serious Android fan for years. I wasn't buying no iPhone. And then one day I decided to buy one. And I haven't looked back. I got this one. This is not my actual full-time phone, but it's an iPhone. And my actual put it is an iPhone. I'm using a MacBook right now. I got an iMac right here, right to my right hand side. You see? That's because the vision that he had, he stayed dedicated to it. Are you dedicated to your vision? Or are you dedicated to the movies, the television, the sports, the entertainment? All of the things that can't make you money. I leave out video games. Why do I leave out video games? Because, yes, I enjoy video games, right? I play them from time to time. But the one thing about video games, you can monetize that. So if you're a guy who's a gamer or a girl who's a gamer, you could turn that into income. Set up a channel, let people see you play, and engage with your followers. That is a big space to get into. There's so much money to be made in that. So anybody who's listening to that is a gamer. So instead of using that time just playing games and not making money, turn that into if you're going to spend hours doing it, turn it into hours making money. That's what I say. Well, you can actually turn watching movies into making money. You could start your channel talking about the movies, what you like and what you didn't like about a movie. You do it anyway, right? You call people up and you talk about it. You in your house, you talk about it. How about taking that and turning it into a way of making money? Take your simple conversations and turn them into money-making conversations. I know it's a hard concept for some people because you're so used to being told what to do. You're so used to be told you need to clock in, you need to clock out, you need to take your break at a certain time. You can only take this time. You can only take time off from the job. I understand. That's what you're programmed to. That's your daily life. And I'm selling you something to take your daily life and turn it into a money-making thing. I mean, there's thousands of channels on YouTube just talking about different subjects, different things. Unfortunately, one of the most popular things that people make money off of is gossiping and talking about each other. But you know what the number one thing that people make money off on YouTube? And it has nothing to do with gossip. The number one thing is how-to videos. Talking about products. Yeah. Some of the top channels out there are how-to videos. Like there's a guy, Scotty Kilmore. He talks about cars. He's got over 1 million followers. He just talk about, and there's people who just talk about new cars that come out. Shoot, if you got a car, you could do a video talking about what you love and what you dislike about your car and start a channel off just like that. I'm giving y'all all kind of ideas for 2024. And if you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. You can just show the content and never show your face. If you go back to my earlier videos, my very first videos, I don't even show my face. I just share my screen. That third-party debt collector video that got like thousands of people who watched it, you don't even see my face. And when I studied my channel, all of the videos that got most watched was videos that I didn't show my face. And those were basically how-to videos. Right? I'm giving y'all the game. You don't have to take a course. You don't have to pay somebody to tell you. I didn't pay anybody when I made my first video. I just made a video, put it up there. I just wanted to show people about the debt collector laws. I didn't realize it was going to do that. That's the video that was able to get me monetized. You see? There is so much money to be made, man. And this is 2024, Chinese Dragon year. 2024 is the number of 8, infinite money to be made. Yes. 2024 is the year of money. Everything's in perfect alignment for you. But even though things are in perfect alignment, you got to get into the alignment with the energy of that. You can't be out of sync with it. What time is it? 8:08. I planned on going back to the hospital. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I think I said enough. I think I got on your case. Pretty soon I'm gonna stop beating y'all up about this and let y'all do what y'all do, because I got things to do. I got millions to make and a family to take care of. And I will remind you that don't get distracted by complications that may arise. No matter what, don't get distracted. Keep pushing forward. Remember, sometimes these distractions just to test you to see if you're going to stay with it. Just got to fit that distraction in. If it's something that, like what I'm dealing with, I got to deal with that, right? But I'm gonna fit in. I'm gonna still do my job. My main job, I got to bring in the bread to take care of the family. Put aside some emotions and get focused. These storms that pop up are just ways to turn you away from where you're going and get distracted. You never get back on. You know how it is. You start something really good, get a good momentum, and then something distracts you. You never get quite back to where you were. I see it in my group all the time. People have started from the beginning, doing very good, and then they got distracted. And they say, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And it's hard because you done made a practice of not staying focused. So that's where your strength is. Not being focused is where the strength is. You gotta exercise. And how you exercise your strength is to, when these distractions come up, don't use this distraction as an excuse to stop what you're doing. Just take the distraction, like with me, fit it in. Okay, I have to be on my computer and check for loads and stuff. I got to do this and do that. Take the computer with me while I'm there. Just be there and show support when it's necessary. I have to adjust my schedule, get up a little bit earlier. Because most times I'm here working. Well, I just have to take my work there and work. And that's what I've been doing. So about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm there, take a break, do some work. And I find that I've been getting a lot of work done too, just doing that over the last couple of days. You can adjust to any distraction that comes your way. Just don't stop what you're trying to do. Don't stop and let the distraction overwhelm your progress or what you're trying to work on. Don't let that happen, because the moment you stop it and put it off, it's going to be so hard to get on. Just take the distraction, whatever it is, especially if it's a situation you have to deal with, fit it in as make it a part of the schedule until that distraction is gone. Then that distraction no longer becomes a distraction. It becomes part of the routine until you don't have to deal with it anymore. See? All right. I'm gonna shut it down for now. And I may get on tomorrow, I may not, I'm not sure. Just depends on how things go. But with that being said, I'm gonna tell y'all peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. What kills a lot of people's aspirations is once they fall off the horse, they get off the rail, they get sidetracked, they don't start over. They don't pick up where they left off. What they do is, this is the thing that people do. They go find some other thing that they want to do and try to start over with that. Or start with that, not start over, start something new. I see it all the time. I see people, hey, I got this business, I'm doing this and then they reach a point where it's not working, or it seems like it's not working. But I always tell you, it's always working. Even in the time where it looks like it's not working, it's working. What it's showing you is maybe you need to just reevaluate how you're doing stuff. And then they quit and they go to something new. And then they get to a point with that and then they move on to something else. Know what habit they're developing? Giving up and starting new processes. Because they figure, oh, maybe that was a bad idea. Let me go over here. Maybe this is a bad idea. Let me go over here. I've had that happen, people I work with. Right before they reach that point, that threshold of a new level, they give up.